Come on, we gotta get this intro right. It's gotta look cool. Ah, nope. Come on. It's gotta look cool. Alright, there we go. Welcome to How I 2x2. The front entrance, we have an airlock and vision to spot you-know-who. Coming a bit further in, we have our first 3 furnaces, warm and comfy, behind that window. Coming into the first section of our core, we have our basic amenities and a large box for quick dropping. Going into the next section, we have our first loot room tucked away nicely. Wait, panoramic? Now what good would a great loot room be without another great loot room to be great with? Now none of this can exist without the overseer, the bringer of goodness, the tool cupboard. And family, 5 large boxes and 1 small one. With the build cost of 4,232 wood, 6,750 stone, 7,400 metal frags, and 138 HQM, you can find yourself residing in this beautiful 2x2. Well, let's build the darn thing. The first thing we'll do is build 2 square foundations. We'll add 2 full walls and then 2 half walls here. It's going to be a bit of an unconventional starter, so we'll add a half wall here and put a door frame above it. We'll throw on a door and seal ourselves inside with a ceiling tile. Next we'll go ahead and grab our tool cupboard. We need to get it as far back in this corner as possible. In this room we're going to add 5 large boxes and a small one. The first one will go in this corner. Once it's in, we can place the second one by jumping up here. The next one goes as far left as possible. The third one is in kind of a weird spot. Its placement will make sense in a second, but just make sure it's up against the TC. Now from this corner we can add this triangle for our last 2 boxes. The first one will go up here in the back right corner. Its placement doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be pretty good. The next box goes this way. This one is a little bit tougher to get in, but you'll get it. For a little bit of movement convenience, we can place a tuna can lamp on this half wall to use as a step. The build cost up to this point is 2,826 wood, 2,250 stone, and 500 metal frags. That includes everything you see here except for the locks. Now in case you're wondering if the weird door placement affects the raid cost, it does not. The way I would raid this would be simply by hitting the sheet metal door with 63 explosive ammo. Now although this base is very hard to raid at this point, I think we should go ahead and beefing it up a bit. To expand, we'll add these 2 square foundations and these 2 triangles. We'll wall this all in with full walls. Make sure you leave yourself access to this triangle. Then we'll build ourselves an airlock. When placing the doors, make sure the first one swings in like this. The second door should swing out, which gives you some inside base defense. Now normally this would be the time where you throw a roof on, but before we do that, we have to add half floors to the top. We need to extend a half floor extra to conceal the fact that the door frames are a half a level higher from the floor than a normal build. We can follow this up by putting on a roof. To get the part above the TC, we can use a temporary step using a floor tile that we can jump up on. Once we are fully sealed in, we can come down and break the step with the build hammer, and then remember to fill in this last spot. Remember to lock your doors! This is what we have so far, but most of it's just a shell, so let's go ahead and fill it in. The first thing we'll add is 2 half walls. Both soft sides face towards the foundation I'm standing on now. Next we'll place the boxes. We want them to be as far forward and as far to the right as possible. By standing in the corner behind you for each one, you can use the same technique to place them all. This is best done while the walls are still stone. We'll do the same thing for this one here. It doesn't matter which box you start with, as long as you apply the same technique to all of them, as shown here. After this is complete, we'll have a total of 13 large boxes separated across 3 different rooms, 5 being with the TC. Next thing we'll add is our workbench. It's going to go in this triangle here. The easiest way to place this would be standing on the half wall like so. We want this to be as close to the right wall and as back as possible. The reason for the angle is so that we can fit a furnace in there as well. Unfortunately, you'll only get one shot at getting this correct. It's not the end of the world if you can't fit the furnace, but you do have to be able to place a window frame here. To check if this was done correctly, just whip out your building plan and check. This is where our tier 3 workbench will eventually go. I'll assume for now that we don't have one yet. This leaves us room for 3 extra furnaces in the meantime. Now that we have our main living area done, we can start to section off the base. We'll build a couple of wall frames above the half walls. I'm going to assume you have garage doors by now, but if you don't, you can use sheet metal double doors for the time being. It doesn't really matter which way the top of the garage doors face, so I'll just throw them in quick. Following the last update, placing this door will now take an extra step. Right now there is not enough room, but if I pick up this box I will be able to place it like normal. It's kind of a weird thing, but hey, it is what it is. I'll put this back and we have one more thing to do in this segment. We'll use 2 floor frames above our loot rooms. I'll assume you don't have the ladder hatches yet, but if you do, you can add them in right after. Without the ladder hatches, this 2x2 is still the same raid cost as a standard one of the same family. With the ladder hatches in, it makes the raid more expensive from all directions. The best path I found to raid was like this. Four rockets into the TC side, which opens most of the base. 4 more rockets opens up the whole base. We can get all the loot from here, and we can ladder into where the workbench and the furnaces are. Let's get into some upgrading. Stone is pretty weak, so let's use sheet metal for our core. Jumping up here allows us easy access to some of the further walls and roofs. Now, not everyone uses HQM, so I will stick to sheet metal in the beginning. To finish our loot rooms, we'll upgrade this half wall and then the foundation under the boxes. I like to upgrade this as well, although you don't have to, and then the other foundation. If we stand in the middle here, we can place both of our ladder hatches. The direction doesn't really matter. The video isn't over, but I'd like to take a second just to thank you for watching the video this far. All the support has just been amazing. Now I really want to know what you think about this ladder hatch thing in general. Do you like it? How would you use this in your build? If you find time, let me know in the comments below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We'll get this back wall, and then this half wall, and then this floor. Then we can upgrade around the workbench area. We'll come over here and upgrade the foundations and everything around the workbench. If you don't have HQM yet, that's fine. You can just do this next part later. But if you do have it right now, then this is what you have to upgrade. First, we'll upgrade both of these half walls. We'll upgrade this floor tile, this wall, and then the back wall. We'll also do the floor. Now you can upgrade this half wall here, but I don't think it's necessary, to be honest. Well, that's it for the upgrading for now. Once you find yourself a reinforced glass window, you can seal off the workbench area. You don't have to upgrade the frame past stone since it's the same raid cost as the window itself. We have one more half wall to add here to section off above the TC a bit more. Upgrading it to stone or sheet metal is your choice, but I do think sheet metal is better here. Hard side has to face you though. The core is pretty solid at this point, but we obviously need some honeycomb, especially to cover up that. We'll start off with these 2 foundations from the front door. If you're the type that likes vision, add 2 wall frames here, and then fill them both in with shop fronts. Our front entrance now goes here, and this wall frame is for a double door that works as an airlock. Make sure the front door swings in, and then throw locks on both of them. We'll finish up this little addition in the front with some ceiling, and then honeycomb the sides. On these we're going to use all triangles. Make sure that you always place the ceiling before all the walls so that it doesn't block it. Each part will take 3 triangle foundations, 3 roof tiles, and 5 full walls. When placing the walls, also make sure that the soft sides of each of them are facing the inside of the triangle that they're on. Funny fact, it actually took me quite a while to understand why you need to use 3 triangle honeycombs instead of 2 for each part. This is the first section that covers an HQM wall that has a TC behind it. You can make the inside of this honeycomb sheet metal if you would like. The final section also covers the TC, so you can make it sheet metal right away if you want. By the end of the wipe though, all this should be upgraded to sheet metal. The build cost up to this point is 4,197 wood, 10,365 stone, 4,750 metal frags, and 138 HQM. This is a pretty solid base in my opinion, but taking out the roof like this, gives the raider access to the whole base. They would still have to break the hatches and the door, but we can do better than this. Which brings us here. We're going to add in a new ceiling to increase the vertical raid cost. You can make this high qual, but I'll stick to sheet metal for the video. We'll put another one here, also sheet metal. Now if you plan on adding roof access, this space is where you would put the hatch, but that's beyond the scope of this video. By this time of the wipe, I'll assume you have a tier 3 workbench ready to go, so we need to clear out some room for it. When placing this, make sure that it goes as far back and as far to the left as you can get it. You can also fit 2 small boxes underneath it. There's a little trick to doing it, so I'll come right back to it. But where do our furnaces go? We need to smelt. Don't worry, I have the solution. It does involve taking down this wall though, so time jump. Do you see what I see? No, not the 0 Gibbs. I see opportunity. We can easily fit 3 furnaces in here. When we place the furnaces, the first one is the most important. It has to be as far back as possible. This allows the following 2 to be placed very easily while still allowing this window frame to be placed. No need to upgrade past stone because it's the same to raid as this window. We're going to fill in this room in just a second. First I'm going to put a small box up here because I totally forgot to do it for like the whole video. Sorry. First thing we're going to add here is 2 small boxes under the level 3. To place the first one, whip out your hammer and rotate the bench. Rotate the box and place it as far left as you can. For the second one, you're going to have to rotate the bench once more and place the box on the right side. First thing we'll put on the floor is a large box. The first sleeping bag always goes on the left side. Now if you're a duo, you can place another sleeping bag right next to it. I probably should have placed this a long time ago as well. Sorry again. If you're a solo player, you can get rid of the second bag and put a small box here instead. If you can find a better or more efficient way to use this space, let me know in the comments below. A lot of people would be happy with this space. It's solid, but not me. I have my reasons. Listen, if I see stone, I raid immediately, so let's just sheet metal it up. We'll start at the walls by the TC and work our way around. To me, upgrading the outer layer of honeycomb is always worth the metal investment. However, if there was another layer of honeycomb around this one, I would probably leave that stone. We'll go up on the roof and upgrade all the triangles above the honeycomb as well. I've also left the foundation stone. If your foundations are high enough where people can crawl underneath them, you may want to consider upgrading them as well. That's pretty much the base, but wait, when making videos I try to hit a certain efficiency range, but if you've watched a video this far then you're really interested in building, so let's keep going. The first 4 sheet metal doors are equal to 1 stone wall as far as I'm concerned. This doesn't match the honeycomb cost, so putting 2 armored doors here makes sense. 1 door can be seen from the outside that's off of the core, so they won't come through the doors. Since the outer ring of honeycomb costs too much to reveal too little, the roof is a better option to raid, which means this has to be armored. Once the whole ceiling is armored, I would say the doors are the best option again, but with these ladder hatches like this, there's an extra step to get the loot with this route, which means we have to armor up the rest of the 2x2 core. We can also get dual purpose from some drop boxes if we place them like this. We gain 8 more rows of storage, that's 2 separate rooms with 4 rows each, slightly less than 1 large box worth of space in each room. This can also throw off raiders if they come through the honeycomb into any single room. I would finish this off with an automatic night light system and then go out in PvP. Enjoy.